fellow up there. So, yeah, this is the second part, under advisement of the upshot of what happened when I found that you could do weird things with a propulsion cannon. And, yeah, Subnautica is a game I like very much. So much so that after playing it through several times, just got the idea of, you know, wanting to document all of these strange things. I guess it kind of rubs off from all of the scanning. But I thought it would be a really cool idea to build a Museum of Subnautica inside of Subnautica. Somewhere with instances of all of the things that you can find, and the places, the things that you can see, the various species that you interact with, both plant and animal. So I built this place. And it wouldn't have been possible had I not found out that you can move things around with a propulsion cannon in ways that were probably not intended. Okay, so if we can get into the museum, we'll have a little look around, and I hope you find this interesting. If nothing else, you know, this means that if you decide that you want an ion cube sitting on a plinth in your base for some reason, that is an option. You can do it. So this moon pool exists purely to populate the museum via the odd propulsion cannon trick thing. So that will be removed once this place is finished, and it's almost finished. But the more I think, the more I realise, that's another thing I can pick up and bring in here, and I'm running out of space. And I really should just redesign the whole thing from scratch, and I have a grandiose plan for that. Like, this wasn't ambitious enough, but enough burbling. Let's have a look. So you can see it's kind of, you try and do it by exhibit, you know. Clearly alien research, alien power and transport and constructs. Yeah, an iron cube there. We've got some alien and Terran, I suppose you could say, versions of things. This is where I found out that you could not pick up tablets, because I would have had one of each tablet displayed here also, and it's kind of annoying that you can't do that because they would have looked great. Then over here we have, next to that part of tech, we have Altera Tech, so the one and only miniature of the Aurora now lives there, which, as a fan of models and miniatures myself, I would rather have that above my bed in my base, but this makes more sense. The Aurora poster should come down here as well. Oh look, that fella. I think we all know who that guy is. He deserved his place. He deserved his place there in the museum. It annoys me that I wasn't in this game long enough to get the other bobblehead of the green fella, the beady-eyed one. So he would be here too. If anyone has a way of sending me that, or a way of rolling the game back so that that's included in it, maybe with the PC version I have now I can find a way, but I think you know what I'm talking about. So here are all the tools, unfortunately a bit higgledy-piggledy on the table there, but I think that's everything. Scanner, both knives are there, pretty sure that's everything. I could probably do, beacons. You can't bring a beacon inside, because I don't think you can. You can't pick one up once it's deployed, and you can't drop one without it being deployed, so I'm pretty sure you can't bring in a beacon. An example of excellent parking right there. That's exactly what you want to do. If you've ever found yourself in that situation, if you have, what is it? Yeah, the repulsion cannon is the one thing that may undo this. This cannon, no. This cannon, yes, potentially. I did undo that. I did manage to undo that without deconstructing buildings, but that's something for another time. Okay, so tech and tech. Then we've got some interesting biological study. This little fella looking all cozy. Why would he want to jump out of that and explode and try and blow off my face when he can just live in his little pod happily? Look, he's smiling. Why would you do that? Instances of organic materials. I know coral is effectively a mineral, but at the same time it's full of, you know, like bacteria and stuff. So yeah, 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other. Nature's cyborg. you know. I think I need to bring a microscope and put that here and some of the round beakers. So science and science, doing sciencey things. That didn't fit over there, and it's kind of unique in that it's fuel and it's biological, but it's also poop. So there's the culprit. Let's point at him. You did this terrible thing. Turns out that it's actually not great biofuel. There are better biofuels, and I might go into that in another video if people are interested. This tank was really for the larger specimens. This was for predators. You see the ant eel, crab snake, mesmer. I need to bring down a crab squid. Need to find an egg to go hunting. And our little buddy there, everybody's favourite little buddy. I may have, depending, because I've not done this yet myself, and I almost am loath to mention an idea I had about some endgame content. I suppose you could call it user-generated endgame content. That's something that could be a lot of fun to do, involving, excuse me, everybody's favourite little buddy who's in this tank. But I might get to that in the future. Some of the biomes, some of the lovely things to see. More instances of plants. And again, should be all the plants here. I felt that metal salvage is still an artifact of Altera, so that deserved to be there. I had no idea how big it would be, though. I know there are different shaped ones, so if I could really go to the trouble of it, maybe I'll check the different shapes and see if there's one that will fit on something. But I kind of like how that's just sitting there like that. It's like modern art, so-called modern art, you know. That I tried to see if I could build the rocket inside of the lagoon on the island, like Tracy Island from Thunderbirds, but the platform's just way too big. It was a shame. There's a little buddy under there peeking. I once saw a fish that big. That was the day. Oh, and interestingly, saw this reaper just doing its thing, and it was just naturally doing hunting behaviour, and it had a taste for sand sharks that day, and just kind of thought that was a pretty cool, like a BBC documentary picture, you know. Instances of the little guys. So, you know, this is the main hall, as it were, and of course you've got all of the other rays. Poor diseased fella. I've already fixed that. You should be healed. Oh, interesting thing I found out, or at least I think it's a mechanic. I had a tank I had an alien containment that I was using for breeding Reginalds for food and fuel in my first playthrough, and somehow, with none of them being diseased, somehow they all got diseased. They all ended up with pustules. And then I put one of the sparkly peepers, one of the enzyme peepers, in that tank, and it never happened again. So if you happen to be using livestock as biofuel in an alien containment, it's worth, I think, putting one of these guys in there with them, because that enzyme peeper is going to keep the tank healthy. I've always done it ever since, and I've never seen anything diseased in a tank since. So, as far as I'm concerned, it works. So yeah, that's just one thing. Also, I may go into, if you guys are interested in it, the viability of what your alien containment can do for you to actually be growing materials and resources in your base, in terms of base footprint over efficiency. So there's a little observation deck, because I figured it's a little bit tight in here, and the reason this display is where it is because this is going to not be here. This will be a wall, so you can kind of walk around it, but you probably wouldn't. And people milling around, not that there would be many at a time, because the idea of this place is that it's a super VIP only kind of head of Altera private getaway kind of place that has things like ion cubes that they wouldn't explain to the public on display for them to gloat at. You know, the idea being be creative run this time round that excuse me, my headcanon of the story is that after Robinson got back to Earth, Riley Robinson, is it? I forget. After he got back to Earth and Altera found out about this place, they sent a lone android who doesn't need to eat or sleep or breathe and can't be crushed to leverage this place into like a hyper resort for extremely rich people, with an evil Altera core, with a chewy Altera core of bitterness and evil, which will be a fair bit further down and in a place which is quite a lot hotter. That'll be where the HQ is, next to the alien defense equipment and the big scary tower, but, you know, spoilers. Come on, this game is old. Right, so, enough rambling. So the android came down here, and he built this. I am that android. I built this. So, observation deck for traffic around the museum. You might decide that you want to get out of the flow of traffic, or just have a look at this if you don't have time to rent the overpriced private observation dome down there. And this is pretty much a circuit, so what I do need to do is figure out one thing, which is access to the rest of the facilities. What I did think about was, you know, all that good service stuff. So back here, behind the exhibits, you have part of what would be the staff area, I suppose. Up here is the security station. So you'd have a guy in a chair, probably with sandwiches and a radio, just watching people milling about down there in case, you know, some rich Altera Corp guy's like kid decides that they want to pocket an ion cube or something. You know, probably not the best thing to do. And also, this scanner, this particular area, allows you to scan from pretty much the mouth of up there all the way down to where the next biome starts down there. So it makes a pretty cool hologram. You can see that goes quite a ways down. And that would be to make sure that nothing big and scary was going to come and eat the clients. You know, that seems like an Altera-y thing to do. Go back down, go down 2 levels. So this lets you into the observation ring, which is around the whole place, and there's kind of stuff to see. So as you walk around, you'll find there's a thermal vent. This place is powered by thermals. As you walk around, you'll see that these the lasers happen to hit this window here on either side. So I figured it would be a good place to, at some point, put a plinth out there with maybe a mining arm on it. So again, this would involve, this is after realizing what I could do and not having a moon pool attached to this level. But maybe have something about the nature of, you know, Altera industrial drilling operations off-world, exploiting all worlds for building better worlds. So that guy's out there as part of the exhibit, because you can see him with his drill arm in front of his deposit to drill under that lighting. So that's part of it. You walk around, you can see the cove tree fairly unfettered from here. But again, briefly, because, you know, they want you to rent the expensive bubble, which is here. Obviously giving the best view. This is where you would stand and get your selfie. Oh, I went and saw the cove tree, yeah. I love it down here, though. Cynicism aside, we've got kind of an escape situation there. You know, there are hatches in the floor in places where you can just get out if you need to. And then this goes round to... Which floor are we on? Is this the bar? This is the bar, so we're on the upper floor. The executive lounge, the bar, where you can get cocktails and coffee and things. Give me coffee. Give it. Alright, don't. Fine. Oh, of course, creative. Besides, I'm an android, I don't need coffee, can't drink anything. I could, but it would be more messy than useful. And then sort of a refectory slash snack bar slash cafeteria, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, tuck shop. Okay, that's impressive service. Teleported it straight into my pocket. I'll eat that later. Crunchy coffee. Yeah, so, you know, the executives would have their kids down here, probably supervised while they're up there drinking their cocktails. A couple of moon pools to receive. I assume what you would have to do is shuttle down here from the top of the trench where there's another base. The more sort of public one with the VIPs would launch to here, but no one else would go. And you would shuttle down via Cyclops to here, and then deploy out of the Cyclops in a prawn suit, just to be received into here. I assume that's how it would be done, because I can't think of another way it would be done, and also it seems so overblown and opulent. Why wouldn't you want to have your 3 seconds in a prawn suit to say that, oh, I drove a prawn suit? So yeah, the museum. It took a lot of doing, and the idea is, again, to have one of everything here. Every kind of plant, you know, every pick-upable item, to build it out of all the modules. This was obviously after the large update, giving us all of these fun new rooms, and it was off the back of trying to figure out what you could do with one of these large rooms, because divvying one up into a base is kind of difficult. And I may go into that again in a separate video, where we might go and look at some of the other odd things I built in this run, because this one was basically all about what can we build now. And finding the propulsion cannon hack was a fantastic bonus on top of that, which was not only what can we build, what can we actually populate it with. Here's the first answer to that question that I could come up with. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Sorry if I've been a little bit rambly, but ultimately that's what this one's about. I had an idea and I executed it with a weird trick that I found, and I quite like the result. And I hope if nothing else, it might be something that is useful to you guys, to anyone that chooses to watch it. So thank you very much for your time. Have a good one. Don't worry about smashing buttons or pressing buttons, because I don't care about that. And maybe I'll put something else out sometime. Thanks. Bye.